Wow, that glare sucks. There we go. How's it going? Hey, CPAP. Very bad connection. This may not last long. "4 years of what?" Big Ridge, what's up? Nottingham, Kevin, Jonathan, Nittany Lion, what's up? CPAP, I think I already said hey to you. Get some more people in here and we'll talk about. Kevin knows. Easy and Sons, what's up? Dice Man. What's that mean? Is that a new superhero? I put my hand here, but it messes up the signal. 4 years for the beard? No, this is like a couple months. Keith James, Daniel. By the way, this is tea, not coffee. It's too hot to drink coffee right now. Roasting in the Keystone. Yeah, it's hot everywhere, ain't it? When I was in Indiana, my weather thingamajigger said that they were under a heat warning as I left. So that's cool. I'm gonna get a shower tonight, so I'm happy about that. Couldn't get one last night because people at Petro in Kingdom City don't know how to park, including myself. Thank you, Nottingham. You didn't have to do that, Daniel. I don't deserve anything except a shower. I deserve a shower. But I appreciate that, Daniel, very much. I'm glad I could help you guys out. Because the more people that make that next step, I don't know, actually that creates competition. I need to stop doing that. Now, there's plenty of freight for everybody. Jim Jarena, you're in southern Georgia. I know the heat. Yep. You do, Big Rich, you do. But I got a pretty decent breeze. Got the windows open. I got Sierra England with one of those new Freightliners next to me. You can barely hear him idling. His idle and the reefer unit's quieter than most trucks. If it wasn't going to be down for a couple of weeks, I would give Snorlord something. You guys don't need to give me anything. Jonathan Wheeler, what's up? Stu Manchu, sorry. Now here's the 4-year anniversary, since only 15 of you care. 14 years ago, on June 19th, I completed that last little bit of paperwork that I needed to become an owner-operator. Dragon Steve says low 90s feels like 100. I got it on my GoPro. I don't know if I'll upload it, but I went through another rainstorm, almost the same spot as the hailstorm I was in. And the temperature went from 90 degrees to 72. Big, huge gust of wind. It didn't hail, but it rained pretty good. But then it went right back up. It's like in the 90s again. You followed me all along, Kevin. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was like maybe a month after I started at Landstar that I started doing my videos. And I appreciate you, Kevin. I know we don't talk on the phone that much, but I enjoy our conversations when we do. I'm really bad about calling back. I really am. I'll have about 10 people call me, then I'll forget. I'll be forgetful. And then when I'm looking for a load, I don't talk on the phone. I at all, because I want to be able to make that phone call real quick. At Schneider it's a little bit easier because I could lift the low board and book freight while I was on the phone with somebody. But you know, I have to go in book mode. But I'm really bad about calling people back, and I think that some people think that I'm an a-hole because of that, and for that I apologize. I was looking at my Facebook post, and that's what reminded me. I remember Springfield has its own IRS office, and you used to be able to go in to pay your $22.90. It was awesome. And now you have to, like, I have to do it online, even though the office is literally a few blocks from my house. That's not a place to park there, National Express. And when I did the paperwork, the red tape and all the stuff, it was so overwhelming. And you think you got this piece of paper, and then you got to go get this piece of paper, and then you got to call Landstar, which was the Landstar recruiter, which is the third-party recruiter, by the way. You know, they were hard to get a hold of, and then, you know, all these different elements. And I remember I was just burned out from, I was over it. I was done. I was like, did I make a mistake? Because this is a lot harder, you know. And I've told people, you don't just go out and buy a truck and then boom, you're ready. There's so much government crap, which is why I haven't got my own authority yet, because I imagine that if I struggle getting my truck, then, you know, that's here, and then getting your own authority is like way up here, you know. And so when I left the IRS office to finally pay my $22.90, which was the last piece that Landstar needed to schedule my orientation, I was literally in tears, man. I'm not afraid to admit it. I was literally like in my car going, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this now. It's done. And reality set in, and it was a good feeling, you know. It really was. You got to go out of your comfort zone to get to the next level. And I was definitely out of my comfort zone. I lost like 20 pounds. I was home for a full month. I didn't sleep. You know, I woke up, you know, I woke up thinking about it. I went to bed thinking about it. I dreamt it. You know, it was so weird. And, you know, and there's, you know, so that was 4 years ago today. 4 years ago on the 16th is when I bought the Peterbilt. So I actually signed the paperwork for that. But between getting the inspection and getting all the paperwork ready for Landstar and getting it registered and dealing with the dealer and dealing with the APU place and the $22.90 and all these different things, you know, and I didn't know Jeff back then. I'm sure that if I knew Jeff, he would have had everything I needed lined out in like 10 minutes. So when I went from Landstar to Schneider, I wasn't organized enough where everything was in one spot. So all the paperwork Schneider needed, every time I didn't have that, that cost me a week of getting over to orientation. I put my application there in September, and I didn't get on until December. And part of that's because I don't have a Schneider Finance truck, so they don't take as many of those as they do the Schneider Finance guys, right? and that was a headache in and of itself. You know, then I knew Jeff, but it was still a new friendship. So, you know, he kind of talked me off the ledge, but that was about the best he could do. Now I have everything organized, everything's in a folder. So when it comes to renew my tags, everything will be right there. When I go to do my 2290 this year, everything's right there. I'll do it online because I can't go to the office anymore, because that was so easy. Just go in the office, write them a check, and it was done. Big Rich says it isn't hard to get your authority. How was the pay? Laugh. $14 or $4? 4 years, Jim Jarena. What about 2 phones, Jim Jarena? What about 2 phones? I have 2 phones. I got a flat tire on 95 North. What a drag. Thank goodness for YouTube. Well, I'm glad we can entertain you in your time of need. So, oh, I know what Jeff's talking about. So, all the loads that I did from Thursday to Sunday was sent to me all at once. That was a nice paycheck. Man, flies. I know I need a shower. I'm drawing flies. And you guys can see me kill them. Die. So, I've had a good week. I really have. And when I looked at my overall rate per mile for all miles that I did this week, I was a little disappointed, but then Harold told me his numbers, and then I looked at the national average numbers, and I realized that I didn't do too bad. I'm right up there. I'm right there where I need to be with the rest of the country. And what's interesting, here's something interesting. Maybe, I don't know, you might not care. This is the most money I've made so far at Like Trucking, okay? Tuesday to Tuesday. But yet 1 or 2 of those loads were the lowest paying rate per mile loads that I've done since I've been at Like Trucking. But what I had was consistency, and then at the times that I needed the money to be big, it was. So the lower paying rates, which are still higher than what I did at Schneider, is filled in the gaps of the big paying loads. My best paying load was probably the one that went from Missouri to Ohio. And then I've done some pretty good shorties. So, but yes, Jeff, I got my settlement. Thank you very much. I was surprised to see all 3 loads in one shot. So that was a nice number to look at. And guys, I'll tell you this, man. Getting paid after every load is awesome. Because if things get tight, you know, like they were when I got off, when I came back to work after I hurt my leg, I needed a quick turnaround money to get in the bank for the house bills, and so everything I needed was right there. Now, whereas a place where you got to wait a week for your loads or your settlement, it would have been a little bit more of a struggle. So that was nice. And the fact that we don't have additional expenses. So I didn't go in the debt while sitting, you know, if I had a Schneider Finance truck and I was down a month, talk about $5 grand right there. Stu Manchu, that is Stu says, usually if I pick up a fly swatter, the flies leave till I put it back down. That's exactly what these guys do. Then you're in the zone, trying to snag a load, concentrate on getting that money, no need to sweat that. Big John, what's up? Daniel Adami. Big Rich says it's not hard to get your authority. Big Rich, I don't know if we've officially met. I'm pretty content where I'm at now. I really am. All right, Jonathan Wheeler, take it easy. So yeah, the 4-year anniversary is the 4 years of when I bought my first truck and went to orientation at Landstar. I believe it was, I want to say it might have been a Thursday. And then I got everything ready and got in the truck and was on orientation the following Monday. That was a trip, man. That was a trip. You know, the first time that you get in a truck that is yours, that you're making the payments on, that it's all up to you. If you have a flat tire, you're the one responsible. If that engine blows up, you're the one responsible. That fuel money is coming out of your wallet. That's a weird feeling, man. I remember I didn't fill up, but I got enough fuel here, the Stratford TA, and I had to put it on a credit card because I was tapped, and I went to Indianapolis. And that was a weird trip, man. That really was. You know, driving a strange truck that was old. You know, the oldest truck I'd ever driven besides CDL school only had like 380,000 miles on it. So to be driving a truck that had 550, you know, and the interior wasn't that great. But it was mine. It was my truck. And, you know, the APU worked back then, so I got to Indy, it was hot, turned the APU on, it did its thing. And yeah, the rest is history. And here we are, 4 years later. I went from leasing on with Landstar to having my own truck and trailer, my second truck, and signing on with a great company where I'm making a higher percentage. And I got way more freight opportunities than Landstar Schneider had. So I'm pretty thankful for that. And so Jeff, if you're watching, I'm thankful for that. Thank you. I've made a lot of friends. I've made a few enemies. My channel has grown from 0 to, what do I got now? 2,700. And none of those are bought. I've never like bought promotion from my page. I've never like paid for the Facebook sponsor thing. I've never bought subscribers, none of that. I don't even know how to do that. And I wouldn't mess with it anyways because we saw what happened to Big Rich. So every now and then I might be doing something right. I haven't figured it out yet if I am or not, but we're still learning. So, hey Jeff, are you still in here? You got your 680 from Prime, right? Yes and no, Stu. I got it from Kenworth and Joplin, but it came from Prime. Like, Prime gave it, or sold it back to MHC Kenworth. That's who, you know, originally where it came from. So I had all the records and everything. The Prime, the actual Prime truck dealership is Pedigree. And I know Shane from Green Miles buys all of his trucks from there. And Prime's got decent trucks. Yeah, the one that almost killed me, yes, James Coker. The first 6 months, other than the radiator hose busting, the APU worked great. It wasn't until I got new batteries for the truck the way it was all hooked up, that was when it went south. That was when it was done. But the bunk heater never worked, ever, like ever. My APU here got a workout Sunday. It was hot. I had my sunshades in and never had to idle the truck, so that's good. I never had to go inside the truck stop. At one point I was sitting here with no shirt on and just kind of reserving my energy. Like, you guys want to hear that. But yeah, 4 years ago I became an owner-operator. Drove down the orientation in Indianapolis, Indiana for Landstar, and the rest is history. Lee, Lost Cause, what's up? I've been watching Pedigree's website, but all they have is Cascadia's listed now. Yeah, James, it did short. What had happened is the wires underneath the truck became bare because they weren't secured good enough, and they were rubbing against the rail, and then they arced. And that's what started the fire. You know, when it comes to Pedigree, I tried to look at Pedigree trucks. The only problem is that I couldn't get a hold of anybody. You know, it's not like they have a full-blown dealership where you can walk in and, you know, there's a building there and everything. You know, you have to kind of call ahead. At least that was the experience I had. Because I looked at Pedigree first. I went to Freightliner in Springfield. I went to Aero Trucks, of course. That's where I bought the Peterbilt. But I was also going to look at Pedigree. Yeah, it was serious, dude. I put $3 grand back in the APU, and it still wasn't right. So when I sold my Peterbilt or traded it in, the motor worked. Actually, the motor didn't work. I think it was just completely dead. So it's somebody else's problem now. I'm pretty sure that truck went to auction. It's probably running containers in Mexico or something right now. I mean, the front bumper was bent. It was bent when I bought it. CB antenna on the driver's side was messed up. Like, I had to like remount it. The interior was trashed when I got the truck. Yeah, I did what I could. I took pride in that truck, but at the same time, I had to get away from it. This truck is so much better, and it's so much more comfortable. That Peterbilt was loud. There's no insulation in that truck. So let's see if we can't fix this. It keeps telling me no connection. So, anyways, that is what's going on with me. I got a load I'm delivering tomorrow morning at a place I've never been to. I've lived in Springfield like since 1986. And I'm going to a place I've never been to. That's rare. If anybody's delivering in Springfield, get a hold of me. I'll tell you how it is and where it's at and everything else. You know, I see a lot of those black Peterbilts. You know, I'll read the comment. Cousin It says, think I've seen it running containers in Port, Jersey. That wouldn't surprise me. You know, every time I see, you know, there's a doppelganger at Schneider too. There's another black Peterbilt 387 pulling a Schneider trailer. And there was a doppelganger at Landstar too. Every time I go to Landstar yard, There was the other black Peterbilt. His was a little bit nicer though, didn't have the chrome bumper. And when I looked at Arrow for a second truck, they showed me a black 587 that used to be a Landstar truck. I'm like, no, I gotta get away from these things. Because I hated that interior. The reason why I picked the Peterbilt 387 is because when I was trained as a trainee at Transland, it was a comfortable truck for 2 people. And so I like the room in it, but the shelving and the cargo space just sucks. But the 680s weren't on the market yet in the used market, and that's what I really wanted. Freightliner, they were about 10 or 20,000 more than the same level of truck, same amount of miles as the Peterbilt in Kenworths. I definitely didn't want a 660 because I spent 3 years in one of those, and I don't like the room, and the interior's even worse. And so I knew I'd like a 387, and I did. If I'd kept that truck, I would have redone the floors. I would have gotten the wood floors, and I would have redone the cabinets. Eventually, I mean, you know, providing that the engine held up. But you know, that truck built a lot of character for me, and it's through our struggles that we become stronger. And boy, have I struggled. One of my haters said that they were surprised that I left Schneider because it was so easy there. And that I didn't know how to self-dispatch. And I think about that statement. I don't know, I think I do pretty good. Self-dispatching on the Landstar low-board system was a challenge to me. I know that things are a lot easier there now. I think things are a lot better there now. The rates are certainly better than they were when I was there. And there was a lot of moments that I enjoyed my time at Landstar. I was a blue Kool-Aid drinker, man. And it took me a minute to find the groove, but I've found it. I know how to self-dispatch. I know how to low plan. I know how to ask the right questions to the brokers. And Jeff, if you're watching, you can confirm that. Do I still have a lot to learn? Yeah. You know, Jeff, Gear Grabber, Harold, Big Rich, you know, they've all given me advice. You know, if I forget your name, forgive me. We all share information. You know, all the guys from Like talk to the guys at Advanced, and you know, Christian Trucker today gave me a contact for brokers that have freight coming out of this area. You know, it's through networking and friends that you are able to better yourself, you know? And if you're having trouble finding friends, if you're having trouble finding people to help you, you have to look inside yourself and wonder, what am I doing wrong that people don't want to help you? And while Schneider, it was easier than culling brokers and all that, the limitations compared to what I do now, you know, you got to work a little bit to get more reward, you know. And I enjoyed my time at Schneider. I really did. You know, I've got nothing bad to say about them. There was a load that I did that is also on the Snyder load board, and it was paying exactly the same. So there is money there, but once you get a system down to call the brokers, and you start getting your contacts and you start getting your business contacts, then that aspect becomes a lot easier. So the struggle of calling 20 brokers a day, now it's down to 2 or 3, if I even get that. And you can ask Jeff, I've been using a lot of the same brokers, but I'm still on the open boards. I'm still like, it's not like I refuse to do anything else, you know? So it's easier now than it was back in February and March, for sure. And for you guys to have the weekly truck payment to be under that pressure, kudos to you, man. I couldn't do it. I'll tell you flat out, I couldn't do that setup. You know, I'm pretty good at scheduling stuff. I'm pretty good about asking the right questions. I'm pretty good about not over-scheduling myself, which is easy to do when you don't have a, you know, Snyder, the computer won't let you overbook yourself. I mean, you can still do it, but you can and you can't, if that makes any sense. Like, you can make stuff tight and screw it up with the open dropping hooks. However, if there's things that you literally can't do, okay? Well, here you don't have that safeguard. You have to, you know, have the mentality. I did a load. I called on a load Friday afternoon that was picking up Saturday morning. And I was delivering Saturday morning in North Canton, Ohio at 8:45. That was my appointment. And I was going to get there an hour early. Shadow Wolf, what's up? And I called the broker and said, hey, I'm missing in your load. It was going from Navarre to Olney, Illinois. And he's like, well, it picks up at 9. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can't do that. He's like, why? I said, well, I deliver at 8:45 in North Canton, so I definitely won't make 9 o'clock. He's like, well, you can pick up any time as long as you're there before, I forget what time he said. I'm like, well, put that in writing and we'll do it. And he did. But on paper, it looked like I overbooked myself. So the first thing I did is I called Jeff, said, hey, this Raycon says 9 o'clock, even though I'm delivering 8:45, but I've squared away with broker, we're good. I told him my ETA was going to be 11. And it was, we were all right. I got there exactly 11 o'clock. And that's because Jeff knew the customer I was going to in Navarre. I knew the customer I was going to in Navarre. I happened to see Burger while I was there. And I had to do an 8-2 split to make it work, but that was because of the product. So had I been there at 9 o'clock, it wouldn't have mattered because they would have been out of product. Because the other driver that was also out of product had been there since 9:30. But these are the little things that a lot of people don't realize. So Snyder's good practice for that. And bright, not bright. Bright, not bright. And let's see if we can move this without. There we go. Now I'll probably lose signal. Anyways, so it could be a challenge sometimes making that work. But and when I began, I was giving myself too much cushion. I'd book a load, sit a day, book a load, sit a day, and then I was talking to Gear Grabber about that, and I said, man, I'm following the same pattern I did at Landstar. I got to get out of that right now. And so I had to be a little bit braver. It's kind of like, you know, you get in the pool, and you're in the 3-foot mark, you know, as a kid, and then you kind of gradually flirt with the 5-foot mark, and then boom, now you're in the 10-foot mark, right? And that's kind of what I was doing. I was feeling stuff out, getting the groove on, getting the process down, and then I got a little bit braver, and then as I started to make contacts and business relationships and brokers calling me, then it became easier. You know, now the load I'm under now is all through email. And it only took me half an hour to find it. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. I was at the place where I was delivering at in Columbia, Missouri. I was looking at the load board then, didn't like what I was seeing, had a few things in mind, but once I was empty, I drove over to Kingdom City and parked, and within a half an hour I had a load booked. And 90% of the conversation happened over email. I didn't have that when I was at Landstar. It wasn't that easy at Landstar. So, in a sense, the open load boards that I have access to is a lot easier and a lot better than what I dealt with. Closed load board system is just that. It's closed. Now, if you're a Landstar driver, you can, if you see a load that's on the DAT board, you can call a Landstar agent and they can set that up, but they're going to want their cut, and then they got to jump through Landstar's hoops in order for you to book that. I've done it. I did that once. And so it can be done, but that's a big hassle. So it's a lot easier for them, for the third-party agents, to just grab loads off the boards and put that, you know. Big Road Little Truck, what's up? Thank you, Gear Grabber, I appreciate it. Don't give the haters a second thought, they're not worth it. You're one of the most positive and real people I need to. I appreciate it, Cuts a Minute. Jeff just took off on his motorcycle. Man. TJ, Bull of the Woods, what's up? I'm friends with you on Facebook now. But I do have a lot to learn still. But, you know, and I feel like I'm all by myself a little bit, because Harold and Roscoe and Gear Grabber and James George and all those guys are running the Michigan, Ohio market, and here I am in Missouri going, I'm in Arkansas, la la la. You know, so kind of out here on my own. But at the same time, I went to Ohio this week, and guess what? I had my best paid week. So coincidence? You know. The short stuff between here and Oklahoma pays really good for me. Between here and Oklahoma and Arkansas. But when I want a longer run, Ohio is where it's at. Little Viking Coach. I'll give you the Cliff Note version. I don't think they have Cliff Notes anymore, do they? All you got is Google and Wikipedia now. This is the 4-year anniversary of finishing all the paperwork for my first truck and becoming an owner-operator. That's what this is. So we're talking about that. And I've been trying to kill flies, because I sit with my windows open like a doofus. You get to Cincinnati, I'll definitely treat you some Popeyes. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Big Road. When was the last time I was in Cincinnati? I did a load for Snyder that went through Cincinnati, but it wasn't picking up with delivery. I was picking up in the suburb on the Kentucky side of Cincinnati. That's where I was. And not really a suburb, it was a small town like about 10 miles south. Middle of nowhere, kind of. Nice light load that was a drop and hook. I believe it went to Oklahoma. You guys got any questions or any other crap I can tell you about? We can talk about negotiations. Trucker, yes. Flag killer, no. Go to Atlanta. They say the hot market for freight right now. Little Viking coach, you are not wrong, dude. Harold and I were talking about that. The watermelon loads coming out of there are ridiculously high. There was a load posted. Now, okay, let's talk about, well, let me finish my thought and then we'll go to posted rates, okay? There was a posted rate for a load going from somewhere in Georgia going to Fargo, North Dakota for $4,500. That was the posted rate. Now you're thinking, oh, Fargo, North Dakota is probably a dead-end area. No, there's C.H. Robinson has a lot of freight out of that area, and so did some other brokers. And while that's not paying the same coming out, it's not as bad as Denver or, you know, South Florida. Let's talk about posted rates for a second, okay? Thank you, Zeke. If you're on the DAT board, okay, and there's a posted rate, guess what? It's still negotiable. I laugh whenever I see these guys get on Facebook. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, TJ. You make a good point. That people are like, oh man, look at this rate they're posted. Man, I won't even waste my time calling on that. That's exactly what they want. They want the guy that's going to look at that and go like, cool, I'll take that. And I think I said hey to Shadow Wolf. I saw you sneak in here. And you guys, you can still negotiate posted rates. I've done it. Now you can't go, you know, like they got it posted for 1,000 and it's around the 15-day average. You can't sit there and say, oh, will you do 1,500? They're probably going to turn you down. And what that does, it gives you a good gauge of how cheap they're going to be. Like for example, if it's like $1.50 a mile, you could try to call, but there's no telling if they're going to go up any further than that. So, posted rate is just a suggestion. It's a serving suggestion. That's all it is. So just because it's posted doesn't mean you can't sit there and say, hey, I noticed you got 1,000 on this, but can you do 1,200? You know, when I email a broker, you know, I'll say, hey, what are the details on this load? Okay, it does this and this, here's the times, this product, blah, blah, blah. We're doing 1,000 on it. And I'll be like, can you do 1,250? You know? So just because it's posted doesn't mean that that's set in stone. So to sit there and gripe about the brokers that don't post rates or post cheap rates is kind of, it's a waste of time. Hey Sean Price, what's up? And so let that be a lesson. Now, TJ Jones, Full of the Woods, he said a lot of rejections come from those watermelon loads. I will not be doing watermelon loads, no matter how much they pay, because there's too much risk, in my opinion. Okay, this is my opinion. For rejection rates for a cargo claim. There's a reason why I don't do reefer loads, because refrigerated loads. I don't do reefer either. But because I don't like produce. I love eating produce. I don't like moving produce. And watermelons Some places like Walmart can be especially picky on that, especially towards the end of the season when they don't really need them and people have stopped buying them. They're a lot more pickier than that. Always ask for more. You are correct, Barrett. Sorry about that. So I won't do, well, there's two reasons why I'll do watermelon. Number one, I don't have a thing for produce. And number two, I don't have vents in my trailer. So, and I've talked about that. I don't want to keep repeating myself. But you do play a bigger risk, which is why those loads pay so much more. You know, people in Fargo, North Dakota want the watermelons. It's summertime, and they got to come all the way up from Georgia. There's so much that can happen with them. So, I got like a bug bite here or something. But yeah, if you see a posted rate, don't get all pissy about it, because you can always negotiate more. Sometimes a broker like TQL, what they'll do, and I watched them do this in Henderson, Kentucky. They had a load coming out of Henderson. It was legit. And they had it posted they posted it several times. They posted it once, no rate. They posted the second time, it had 1,500 on it. Then they posted the third time, they had 1,300 on it. They posted the fourth time, they had 1,000 on it. Then they posted it again, it had 1,500. So it was obviously several different agents that were posting the same load, and they were trying different, you know, strategies to put it on the board. So, you know, one guy's like straight to the money. Okay, this is what they want. I'll put this out. Then another agent was probably like, I'm not going to put the rate. And then another agent was like, well, I'll put 1,000 and see if they want to go up. And it was interesting to see how it went from posted to not posted to low to high. And you know, so that alone told me that these rates are negotiable. Barrett says, I'll never haul watermelons myself. I like that story about watermelons and your dad. Don't blame me. Thank you, Michael. You got that right. I had a load rejected at Walmart right along with the guy next to me. They just didn't need them after they ordered them. There you go. There you go. By the way, essential trucker tool right here. And you know, if you jump to conclusions and jump to assumptions, like some people assume that TQL is bad. I've actually had good loads from TQL. People assume that Coyote's bad. I've had really good loads from Coyote. Some people assume that Sage Robinson is bad. I'm under a good paying Sage Robinson load right now. And if you go in thinking you know everything, and that's the problem. Richard kind of touched on it. Big Rich kind of touched on it. Just because you watch people like me or like Jeff or anybody else out here spewing what they say, you know, like me, you're going to gain some knowledge, but until you go in and do it yourself, you don't know anything. You are still a rookie. For example, you can sit there and say, well, you know, I was watching Snow Alert's live feed. He talked about the rejection rate of watermelons. You know, so I know not to do watermelons because I watch YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And then you get out here and you're like, man, that load's paying $4,500. Man. Oh, man, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then guess what? Half the load gets rejected. I've seen guys at Snyder go from me giving them advice to to them giving me advice, like if I didn't know how to run the program. It's amazing how perception changes once you're finally doing it. I'm not an expert. I just know what I know. Sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's right. Every now and then, I'll get lucky. I'm doing great, Thomas Wilson. Dennis says, I did a watermelon loaf from Florida to Montreal. Never again. Half the loaf got rejected. Then it cost me a lot of money to wash out trailer. Be like water, Alamo Kid. I like that. I like that. Bruce Lee, I've seen that. Be like water. Water is a very powerful force. You are correct. There's nothing wrong with using your YouTube knowledge, but you know, Berger and I were talking about this pretty much because he sees that a lot. You know, he's still at Schneider. He has a lot of guys call him, and he tells them exactly how to run. And he uses the phrase, here's what I would do in your shoes. And then they don't do that, and then they turn around and like, talk about how they're struggling. And he's like, well, because I told you not to do it this way. And it's not like Steve thinks his word is gold or whatever, but he's got 2 years of Schneider owner-operator experience over some guys that have just barely started. So, you know, the same thing with the spot market. You know, I'm still learning the spot market. So when people ask me stuff, I'm like, well, here's what I experienced, here's what I went through, and here's what I've been doing. But I don't sit there and say, well, go forth and do what I tell you because you'll prosper, because everybody runs a little bit different. Everybody has different needs. Adam Gallagher, what's up? You have to look at the condition of your produce. You're right, Barrett. Dow Brothers, rejection of the load shouldn't affect the pay of the load. Even if you have to take the rejected part of the load elsewhere, you should essentially get paid for that. I think what it boils down to is you got to set yourself up for the worst case scenario. And I just won't deal with the headache. Now, somebody that's been running produce for the last 10, 15, 20 years, you know, they're probably watching this going, dude, I do watermelon all the time. I don't have any issues. Steve, you're full of it. You're an idiot. Shut up. And rightfully so, because I've never hauled watermelon. So essentially, I'm just going by hearsay. I'm going by other people have told me and what I've seen personally and what like people are saying in my chat. So I know that it's there. I read about it all the time. So essentially, I'm like, I don't want to be that guy that's looking around for a food shelter in the middle of Atlanta or someplace like that, you know, trying to get rid of this stuff that no one wanted. Any type of load can get rejected, not just produce. That is correct. Some places are so bad that if the box gets knocked over with a little dent, they don't want it. And I've dealt with that. Sometimes you prosper from it. I think I still got bottles of hot sauce and barbecue sauce at the house from claims that have happened back when I was at a company guy. You know, I ended up with a full case of carpet cleaner, and we've got wood floors. So we found other uses for that, like cleaning, you know, the little carpet and bedding when the cats puked on it, stuff like that. I essentially gave a lot of it away. You know, hell, I remember I was picking up a load in Olathe, Kansas, and this guy that was trying to give away these peppers that he had, and there was nothing wrong with them. So I don't know why they were rejected. You know, but there have been times when I've had to like find a cross stock. You know, Schneider wasn't a big deal. They just had to take to a terminal to like a full pallet or 2 pallets, you know, something like that. But when I was at Transland, we had to find like the closest R&L or Old Dominion or Roadway kind of cross dock situation to deal with it. And then there's been a couple of times where I used to haul scrap metal out of Joplin up to, I want to say, Lebanon, Tennessee. Every single time I did that load, it was rejected. And so essentially I got paid to give aluminum or scrap metal the tour between Missouri and Tennessee and back. Which, you know, mileage pay, it's all the same. And so I know that it's not just produce that gets rejected. So for the people that want to deal with the watermelon, let them have that money. I'm not telling anybody not to do it. I'm just telling people that I won't do it. And I can anyways. I don't have vents in the trailer. I don't do melons anymore, nor berries, says Shadow Wolf. I remember my dad used to deal with strawberries, and he hated them because, you know, back in the day they were more fragile. See, a lot of fruit vegetables are like genetically modified to last longer, to be more durable, like tomatoes. You know, take a homegrown tomato and compare it to a regular tomato in the grocery store. They're tougher, they're blander. You know, bananas the same way. Bananas aren't what they used to be, and because they're genetically modified to withstand the shipping. You know. Alamo Kid says, I've seen more than a couple of drivers get away watermelon at the truck stop every year. Took a mental note. They swore off perishables too risky. Right, and that's why I'm not in the reefer trailer business. Could I make more money? Probably. Shane Ferris posted his numbers for last week for all of his trucks, and they were astronomical. They were amazing. But all of his trucks, except for one, do refrigerated freight. Thanks for sharing the memories about your dad. Enjoyed them. Gotta go. Don't know about anything else, but here in the Keystone, 4:30 a.m. comes real early. But they look good. I like watermelon. You know, I had a bunch of charcoal rejected one time. And I was giving that away at the truck stops. And I ended up taking a bunch myself and then putting half of what I took in a friend of mine's truck that was at the yard, pickup truck. I still got some of that charcoal. So, but yeah, it's been 4 years since I became an owner-operator. It feels like it's been about 10. My mindset now is definitely way different than it was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was just a truck driver winging it, making a payment. And now I'm starting to think a little bit more like a business person, like what Big Red said last night. You got to go from driving the truck to thinking about a business. And that's essentially what you're doing out here. Even as a company driver, you're balancing your miles. You're trying to get a certain amount of miles to make your bills, to pay them at home. You know, you got to strategize of when and how you're picking stuff up, you know. Shadow, well, thank you for the thumbs up. It's you know, I've learned that it's mainly attitude and not knowledge. You can have all the knowledge, like you can watch all the YouTube videos you want, okay? You can buy Jeff's videos and you can go back and watch all of his videos like he did about Schneider and all of his live feeds. You can have all the knowledge. But if you don't have the right attitude, it's not going to work. How many college educated people out there don't have college level jobs? It's not because they lack knowledge, is it? It's all about attitude. That's the one thing I've preached since day one. You can have all the knowledge you want, and I'm repeating myself now. You can have all the knowledge you can get, but unless you have the right attitude to use that knowledge, then you're going to be fighting every step of the way. You're going to struggle and not learn from it. You're going to struggle and not get stronger from it. You're just going to become angrier and more jaded. So take the knowledge that you learn from the truck stop counter, the YouTube, the Facebook. Take all that knowledge and find out what works best for you and your needs. Take the mental note. Okay, watermelons might be a pain in the butt. Take the mental note that certain types of loads and certain types of trailers have more or less challenges. Take the mental note that running in Miami, Florida may not be as profitable as running in, Ohio. And use that knowledge wisely with the attitude that you're still learning and that you don't know anything. I know nothing. I absolutely know nothing. That's how I look at it. That way, when I make a mistake, I'm not beating myself up. Because that's counterproductive. It doesn't do you any good to sit there and beat yourself up. You learn from the experience, and then you move on. That's it. And in the last 4 years, my attitude has changed. My outlook has changed. And I would say that 50% of it was learning and getting better, and the other 50% was sheer luck. I am not afraid to admit that maybe I wouldn't be where I'm at here today if it wasn't for the help of other people. I know that for a fact. It's not a maybe. And I also know that maybe I'd be further along had I had the right attitude in the beginning. Had I been tracking my numbers in the beginning. Had I chosen a better truck in the beginning. If I had chosen this truck for my first truck, man, I might have been unstoppable. And it's not about the big numbers all the time. It's about consistency. If you make $4 a mile on one trip and $1 a mile on the next, you look at all miles. You look at the averages. And if that average is still good, then you're good to go. Hold out for more money, but don't sit for 3 days. Because a truck sitting is costing you money. Even if it's paid off, you still got insurance. And the truck sitting is not good for it either. What about cantaloupe? I don't know. I like honeydew. I like honeydew more than cantaloupe. I'm not sure what the rejection rate of cantaloupe is. So, you're just going to start listing all the fruits, aren't you, little Viking coach? Go ahead, list some more. What about pumpkins? You forgot that. Pumpkins is another load that could have a high rejection rate. Or lemons. Well, little Viking coach, if you get lemons and they're rejected, well, then you make lemonade with them. That's simple. more questions, comments, or concerns? What should I have for dinner tonight, guys? I've got burritos and I think broccoli left. I'm due for a trip to the laundry, and I'm due a trip for Walmart. Been in the truck for 4 months straight, except 7 days. I hope Zeke the Dragon 7777. I hope that you're making money by being out for 4 months. Durian? I've never heard of durian. Now you're just showing off. Let's Google what durian is. Did you spell that right, little Viking coach? Hey Barb, what's up? I saw you sneak in here. Hey, it's charged. Okay. Now you guys are watching me ask Google what is durian. What is durian fruit? The durian is a fruit of several tree species belonging to the genus Durio. There are 30 recognized Durio species, at least 9 of which produce edible fruit, and over 300 named varieties in Thailand, 102 in Indonesia, and 100 in Malaysia. Each fruit has 885 calories and looks like spiked nads. That's what it looks like. Try a 24-hour fast on day 2 of mine. Hey, little Viking coach, I know some other people that do that. Do you feel great? Is it a challenge to do that on the road? I did an all juice fast and it was amazing. I wish I could do it again. Get another ELD. Got another ELD, just shipped, Snowlord. Big Rig Radio Network. Jeff is announcing that we have another driver, I believe. But I'll let Jeff see who it is. You did that medial test with no anesthesia. Wow. I'm glad you got through it, Barb. New driver getting my experience 20% of each load. New driver getting my experience. Okay. They smell like a big fart. I've honestly, I don't know if I've seen them. Yeah, I know, Barb. Your son is coming to Springfield to be a trainer. Well, good luck. When I was a trainer, Transland had sent me to Neosho, Crowder College, and it was a train the trainers class. It was a very helpful class. It was 2 days. Got to drive the company car, which was a Ford Taurus, all decked out. It was awesome. Nothing witty. I am where I told you I was going to be. The first part. Don't do the juice. That sugar will mess you up. Little Viking coach, I did the... Have you ever seen the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead? I did that. It was all fresh, like kale, spinach, cucumber. Like the only fruit was apple for the most part, and it was like 80-20, 80% vegetables, 20% juice or fruit, and I felt amazing. It was awesome. After about 2 days, the hunger goes away, and you're getting all those micronutrients, and man, you feel like you're on cloud 9. You'll have more energy not eating versus eating. I agree with that. If I eat, I get tired. That's why I can't do a big meal and then do 600 miles. when I had the fast for my little doctor's appointment a few months ago, I actually felt pretty good. My eyesight cleared up. My eyesight got better. Yeah, you're right, Coach. Juicing is not sustainable. That's why they call them a cleanse or a reboot. You do it for a few days and then you go back to eating just clean. It puts you in a state of ketosis, which is another thing that helps you lose weight. But I laugh at, well, no, I won't get into that. We'll do diet another time. Which, by the way, there's a lot of knowledge in this book. Gut Instinct by Carolyn O'Byrne. A lot of good knowledge in this. She's going to be at GATS, I believe. So, that's a book, it's an audio book. She has the paper version. And no, she did not pay me to say that. He's going with a co-driver and he has to train him, that is why. Well, I hope, Barb, I've heard that's a good way to make money at Prime, is to team with someone. I know that the husband and wife teams at Prime do really well there. Personally, I couldn't team with anybody but my wife. I think my wife would do all right in the truck, but I don't know. There's maybe 2 people on earth that I would team that aren't my wife. And one's not even driving anymore. Or actually both are not driving anymore. But I don't know. I don't know if I could deal with the truck moving 24 hours a day all the time. I don't know if I could deal with that. Not McDonald's. Jeff Outlaw in Texas. It's okay. The kid found the spot market home against all odds. Alamo good. Well, good. Black coffee, water, and tea only. Haven't taken a nap in years. That's pretty much all I drink. Black coffee. Every now and then I'll put a little bit of creamer on my coffee, but ever since I cut way back on that, I've lost weight. My friend James DeJong, he gave me my fridge, because at one point he thought he was going to be off the road for a minute. And so now I have a fridge. I've been eating a lot cleaner. When I buy vegetables, I buy the frozen steamable vegetables. I'll buy fresh apples and bananas for for snacking. Someone commented on one of my videos. I think it was last night's live feed. That they're like, "Sorry, Steve, I've seen that you've gained weight since I saw you last." I'm like, you must not have seen me for a while. If you guys go to my old channel, you can see how much weight I've gained, and I'm pretty much ashamed of it. I'm pretty ashamed of it. But we're trying to make improvements, just like the trucking thing, just like the owner-operator thing. It's a constant struggle. It's a constant state of improvement. There are a lot of addictive qualities to foods that are engineered in there, like cigarettes. A lot of people don't realize that. There's a great book called Salt, Sugar, Fat that, I forget the name of the author, that will really open your eyes on how the convenience food industry has manipulated us. And if you think about it, You know, for you people that aren't truck drivers that might be watching this, and if you're not a truck driver, I don't know why you would be, but in case you are, whenever you do a road trip, what do? You buy McDonald's, you buy the convenience store, you get beef jerky, and you get the snacks, the chips, and everything else. And after the road trip, you feel like crap. When I was a trainer, every single trainee that came with me had a toxic reaction to the food. Because you go from eating at home fairly decent to eating nothing but convenience store and restaurant food, you're gonna get sick. You know, my very good friend from New Zealand, he said that when he came to America, the food makes him feel like he's got the flu. Just like everything else, we are our own worst enemy, including myself. I have a lot of improvement. So for people to sit there and say, oh, you're fat, you're overweight, you're unhealthy, well, thank you, Captain Obvious. I know that. I'm trying to work on that. And I'm doing better. I've lost 20 pounds in the last couple of months. But it could be a lot more. Well, I would say a couple months. In the last 6 months, I've lost 20 pounds. But I'm keeping it off. I'm not regaining it. If I eat horrible for 2 days straight, I get moody, I get depressed, and I'm at that point where I recognize that, so I don't want to eat like that. When you eat clean for a week and then suddenly you have McDonald's, watch your mood. You're going to have a mood swing. You know that movie where that documentary where that guy ate nothing but McDonald's for 30 days? You know, a lot of people gave him flack for that. Well, of course you're going to gain weight if you eat McDonald's for 30 days. But the interesting part about that whole experiment was not the weight that he gained. It was the mental stress it put him through. Like there was one part of the movie where he was literally eating the McDonald's and then throwing it up an hour and a half later and then craving it another hour later. What was the last time you threw up and craved food an hour later? That's like addiction. There's chemicals in these foods that keep us addicted. There's chemicals in these foods that are preventing us from collecting our Social Security. You want a government conspiracy? There it is. Everybody thinks that they're going to throw us in FEMA camps. They're going to kill us with vaccines. They're going to, spread some kind of plague or something. No, they're doing it through our food supply. And it's not because the government hates us, it's because it's for profit, just like cigarettes. They know that cigarettes are bad for you. They know that they were chemically engineered to make you addicted to them, but yet they're still allowed to be made. Alamo Kid says apple cider vinegar with garlic, ginger, local honey is awesome. Barb says the same here. When I could eat more foods, I went crazy and gained a lot. Not happy. Here's a trick. Viking Coach says get a few small to-go containers of bacon, egg, sausage from the buffet for $5. Eat one of those a day. Only microwave them. $5 a day. Eggs, bacon keep you full. That is a good tip. Thomas Wilson is back. Guys, I'm going to start doing more cooking videos. I've just been doing microwaving, so there's really not much to do with that. But I'll get back to doing recipes. I do know that another trick is if you're a dedicated driver that's home every weekend, over the weekend you can make all your food ahead of time put them in the freezer, and kind of create your own like convenience meals where you just throw them in the microwave or throw them in the lunchbox cooker. I've been known to do that. Thomas Wilson's all about the tacos. Pale Rider lives on a taco diet as well. Little Viking Coach, I highly recommend you go watch Scott the Truck Driver for health info. Is that his YouTube name? LVC? Let me look that up. Is that his YouTube name? Scott the Truck Driver. Look at LVC being all helpful. Scott there it is. There he is. 8,000 subscribers. Review of Food for Thought. I'm sick. So I got that. Oh, cool. There, LVC. I subscribe. There he is. You're going to have ups and downs. Just have to make sure you have more ups and downs. I've had more downs and ups the past year, but thankfully I lost 11 pounds and I'm slowly keeping it off. I'm surprised you didn't gain 11 pounds from that trucker exec skit that you did. You went to town on that thing, man. I laughed just thinking about that. That was one of your top videos ever. Like ever. Like that was. If you guys know what I'm talking about, go to Little Viking Coach's channel. He did something a parody of Trucker Exec, and he eats this massive hamburger. I swear. This tall. And it had a donut on it and everything. He quit being a driver because it was messed up his health. That's the thing, guys. That's why you need to get your money. That's why if you're out here in the spot market, get as much money as you can, because we don't eat right. We don't sleep right. We're exposed to so many different dangerous elements and traffic and stress. You need to make it worth it. You need to make that money worth it. And don't sacrifice it all for your health either. You know, don't be one of these guys with one of these, you know, decked out $200,000 Peterbilts and your legs are purple because you're so comatose and diabetic that your limbs are literally rotting off. I've seen that. And it's like, you know, you polish your wheels and then you eat right. You take care of the truck, you take care of yourself. If you take care, you know, what good's that nice truck if you're killing yourself to make the payments? And that's something I try to, you know, remember, is that, you know what? You know, every job has its hazards. I gave up welding because of the hazards with that job. But it's a lot easier to not see how much trucking is killing you. Because it's just second nature. To guys like me, trucking is second nature. So the different restaurants and the different elements, the different dangers, you know, it's just another day. You know, this windshield is our office. But the reality is that could I be healthier if I got off the road? Probably. And you know, in a lot of ways, since I'm not running as hard as I used to, that's part of my weight loss, is that I'm not out for 2 weeks at a time, you know, eating like crap. You know, I'm at least home enough to get to Walmart, and when I am home, it's like 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row, and that's 5 days for my body to reset and not eat junk food out here. And I will admit that I eat out more than I should. You know, Little Viking Coach just got a good strategy. You know, I like Roscoe, other trucker James Best. I like his strategy with the salad bars. You know, I love vegetables. I love salads, so that's not a challenge to me. but I try to eat healthy while I'm at home. And I think that's why the doctor said my leg recovered a lot quicker than he expected, because I was taking care of myself. I was eating better. I was taking supplements. I was taking extra vitamin D for the bone to heal. And, you know, if you follow Eskimo Sean on Facebook, he's been working out. You got Alex Express that shows how to work out here. There's a guy at Prime that was so good with workouts that they pulled him out of the truck, and now he teaches Prime drivers how to be healthy out on the road. It can be done. Not every single truck driver out here is a fat, unhealthy person. You know? Yeah, he threw a Viagra pill, some chew, like, he threw a lot of stuff. That was after a 2-day fast. That was his best but grossest one yet. Air Vaquero is my 4-year anniversary of becoming an owner-operator. Drink plenty of water to keep everything flush. The only thing that sucks is a bit more P-stops. I definitely got my water. You know, I buy the gallon jugs and I throw them in the cooler, and then when I need a cup, I just fill this up. Keeps it cold. I do buy bottles, like small bottles. Green tea. I love green tea. And not that honey sugar crap. That's Arizona tea. That's not real green tea. That's instant tea mix with sugar in it. I'm talking like real brewed green tea. I love that. Little Viking coach, you skip breakfast and lunch. You probably do the intermittent fasting in a way. I make hamburgers on the grill with fried donuts. Totally awesome. Thomas, we're trying to talk about health, and you're like, I don't like donuts on cheeseburgers. That's okay. I've yet to try. I can honestly say I've never tried combining donuts with hamburgers, ever. All right, guys, I gotta go. Later.